Hello everybody, I hope you had a nice weekend. We're going to start today with the rhyme we began on Friday. There was a little girl who had a little curl. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bold, she was horrid. I also have a new rhyme for you. It's called Tom, Tom, the Piper's Son. Say it after me. Tom, Tom, the Piper's son stole a pig and away did run. The pig was eat and Tom was beat, and Tom ran crying down the street. Now we'll have one final rhyme for today. Let's say our days of the week rhyme. Monday's child is fair of face. Tuesday's child is full of grace. Wednesday's child is full of woe. Thursday's child has far to go. Friday's child is loving and giving. Saturday's child works hard for a living. But the child who is born on Sunday is bonny and blithe and good all day. So this week is active week, and I chose an active type of poem for you to listen to. If you want, you could do some actions. If I Were a Hawk by Claire Bevan. If I were a hawk, I'd circle and stalk. If I were a toad, I'd waddle and walk. If I were a panther, I'd prowl and I'd pace. If I were a zebra, I'd rear and I'd race. If I were a seagull, I'd soar and I'd sail. If I were a slug, I'd trudge and I'd trail. If I were a snake, I'd slide and I'd slither. If I were a sloth, I'd doze and I'd dither. If I were a hippo, I'd trundle and tramp. If I were a rhino, I'd stumble and stamp. If I were a pony, I'd plunge and I'd prance. If I were a swordfish, I'd spin and I'd spike. But as I'm just me, I'll ride on my bike. Today's story is from the Book of Pigtails by Hutchinson's Publishers, and the story is called Geraldine's Baby Brother by Holly Keller. Geraldine put on her earmuffs and sat behind the big chair. "Why are you wearing earmuffs in the house?" Uncle Albert asked when he saw her. "So I can't hear it," Geraldine snapped, and she pointed to William's basket. "But I thought you wanted a baby brother," Uncle Albert said. "Not that one," Geraldine grumbled, and she turned the page without looking up. The doorbell rang, and William started to cry. Mama came out of the kitchen. Aunt Bessie came down from the bedroom, and Papa got up from the sofa. It was Mrs. Wilson to see Mama. She had a big present for William and a present for Geraldine too. "And where is Geraldine?" Mrs. Wilson asked while she was tickling William. "Nowhere," Geraldine snarled from behind the chair. So Mrs. Wilson left Geraldine's present on the table. William cried all morning. Aunt Bessie picked him up and patted him. Mama gave him a bottle, and Papa carried him all around the house. Uncle Albert made funny faces, but at lunchtime William was still crying. "Oh dear," said Mama suddenly. "Where's Geraldine? She must be starving." Geraldine was in her room. "How about a sandwich?" said Mama. Geraldine turned away. "I don't see you." Mama sat down on the edge of the bed, but Geraldine slid off the other side and walked out the door. Late in the afternoon, Geraldine came into the kitchen. "I'm going to take my bath now and then I'm going to bed." "That's nice, dear," Mamma said quickly over her shoulder. William was still screaming. Papa was waiting outside the bathroom when Geraldine opened the door. "Aunt Bessie made lasagna for dinner, Geraldine, especially for you." "Not hungry," Geraldine grumbled, and she disappeared into her room. In the middle of the night, Geraldine heard William moving around in his basket. She got out of bed and marched across the hall to the nursery. "No more crying," she said sternly. William looked at her and yawned. "I mean it," she added. William rubbed his face and stuck out his tongue. "You're weird," she said. William stuffed his hand into his mouth and sneezed, and Geraldine laughed because she couldn't help it. But William didn't cry. Geraldine stuck her fingers in her ears and he still didn't cry. She turned on the light and William gurgled. So she sat in the rocking chair and read him some stories. In the morning, Mamma found them both asleep. "Breakfast, anyone?" she whispered. Geraldine opened her eyes. She was really hungry. "Can I give William his bottle?" she asked, and she patted William's head. "How nice," Mamma said. "Can I give you a hug?" "Soon," Geraldine answered, and she went downstairs for breakfast.